If it's time to update your LinkedIn profile, then you found the right video that is going to help you. In this video, we're looking at how to create a LinkedIn profile that helps you stand out and get results. And I'm going to walk you through all the key elements of a LinkedIn profile. I'm also going to be sharing with you AI prompts that will help you create your profile a lot quicker using ChatGPT, Gemini, or whatever AI platform that you may be using. If you're just looking for specific information on one section of how to create your LinkedIn profile, then I do have timestamps right below. You can look at the description and that way you can go to that specific part of the video. So let's get right into it. This is the first thing you want to do before you actually make any changes to your LinkedIn profile. You're going to update your privacy settings so not everyone is going to get notified when you make updates and changes to your profile. You're going to click on Me right here, the little icon on top when you're on your LinkedIn profile. Head to Settings and Privacy. Following that, you will click on Visibility. Click on Share Job Changes, Education Changes, and Work Anniversaries from Profile. When you click on that, you'll get this screen. You want to make sure that this is toggled off so not everyone is going to receive notifications as you're making changes to your profile. As we're going through this process of optimizing your LinkedIn process, it's important to keep this in mind. You want to make sure that you're optimizing every single section of your LinkedIn profile for search. Think of LinkedIn as a powerful search engine for recruiters, hiring managers, other professionals who are looking for you. When you're creating your profile, it's important that you think, what words would they type in the search bar to be able to find me? What words would they use to find my expertise? Those are the kinds of keywords, key phrases that you want to make sure are included in your LinkedIn profile. And it's not about keyword stuffing, which is something that I see a lot of people do, where they just put a bunch of keywords in a certain section of their profile because they know that keyword optimization is important. What you actually have to do is be strategic about it, where you're including keywords, but you're also going to provide the context and the narrative for that keyword. Because as much as you're optimizing your LinkedIn profile for search, remember that people will come to your profile. And if it's just a bunch of words that don't really make any sense, they're just going to skip to the next profile. So here's an AI prompt that can help you get a list of keywords and key phrases to start with. I'm currently seeking a role as and state the job title. What are the top keywords and key phrases that I should include in my LinkedIn profile to appear in recruiters' searches? Now let's talk about your LinkedIn headline. Your headline is one of the most important parts of your LinkedIn profile. It shows up right at the top of your profile and it follows you wherever you go. Whether you comment on something, whether you're liking something, or you are having a conversation with someone in the DMs, your LinkedIn headline, it shows every single place you go on LinkedIn. So you want to think of it as prime real estate. It's like a huge billboard that tells everyone, this is who this person is, this is what they do, these are the skills they have, these are the problems that they solve. So you want to make sure that in the 220 characters that you have, that you are leveraging them not only to be able to showcase the value that you bring, but keeping in mind what I told you before about keywords and key phrases that will help you for search. Your headline is a searchable field, so you want to make sure that the appropriate keywords that you want to be found for are showing up in your headline. Here's an AI prompt that can help you. Based on my resume summary of qualifications and keywords that you listed above, so this is from the previous prompt where you asked it to list keywords for you, can you create 3 LinkedIn headline options that combine my expertise, my summary of qualifications, and my target role as and then you add the role that you're targeting. So this will give you a couple of options. If you're looking for how to format your headline, I have another video that I'm going to link right above. And in that video, I share 7 styles of headlines that you can use on LinkedIn. And this can help you also to make your AI prompt a lot more specific as you're trying to create your LinkedIn headline. Once you've updated your LinkedIn profile headline, a section that you want to pay attention to, which is right at the top of your LinkedIn profile, is your contact information. So you can click this little pencil right here, and this is essentially where you updated your LinkedIn profile headline. But in addition to that, you can see that there's a lot more information that goes into this section. You are able to add your location. It is important that you add your location on your LinkedIn profile. It does help with searches, especially if you're someone who's currently job searching. It just helps to be able to know where are you looking to land a role. There are more specific ways to do this in the Open to Work, and I will get to that shortly, but it does help in terms of searchability when you add your location. And LinkedIn has done studies on this that have demonstrated that adding your location does help you in your job search on LinkedIn, because it is one of the fields that recruiters using LinkedIn Recruiting will have in their search. Another thing to keep in mind is your contact information. So you want the hiring manager recruiter to reach out to you by email. You want to make sure that you're including your contact information somewhere on your profile. So you want to make sure that you're including at least your email address, especially if you're someone who's job searching. If you have privacy concerns and you don't want to add your email, your phone number, that is okay, but make sure that you're communicating somewhere that they can reach out to you directly here on LinkedIn. Let's talk about your About section now. So this is often called the summary because it provides a summary of your professional story. This is really the narrative, the core of your LinkedIn profile, where it's not just for you to be able to say, hello, this is what I do. It's really an opportunity for you to sell. What are the key skills? What is the value that you bring? What are the problems that you solve? You have the opportunity to actually state what it is that you want people to do now that they visited your profile. So for your About section, the opening statement is so important because when you're on LinkedIn, you can only see the first 3 or 4 lines of the About section, and you need to click see more before you can actually read the rest of the About section. So you want to make sure that those opening lines, that they're going to get the attention of the reader. So it's important that you actually know who's going to be the reader. Am I trying to get a job? Is it a recruiter or hiring manager? Am I trying to network with people in my industry? Then that's my audience. You need to know who the audience is, and you need to speak to that audience in your About section. Let's look at an example. My About section. I start off, my opening line in my About section says, did you know that 65% of senior executives think introverts make bad leaders? This opening statement works for me because my target audience are professionals who are typically introverted, and a lot of times they don't know about this stat, and they reach out to me and they're like, it makes so much sense, you know, I always get overlooked at work because I'm introverted, and I didn't know there was a bias in the workplace against people who are introverted. So that immediately catches their attention, and that wants them to learn more about, okay, what do I have to say? And then in the next paragraph, that's when I start talking about me. So you want to make sure that the first 3 to 4 lines catch the attention of the person that you're targeting with your LinkedIn profile. The next paragraph, once you have their attention, this is where you shift the focus to talk about you and the unique value that you bring to the table. This is where you quickly can share some of your top achievements. You can talk about some of the top problems that you've solved, and you can even be specific. You know, being able to quantify something will always demonstrate greater impact than just stating the task that you did. So be specific, and you can use the first person on LinkedIn. So if you want to pull the top 3 to 4 career achievements on your resume, change that to the first person. You can definitely add those to your About section on your LinkedIn profile. Finally, now in terms of closing your About section, you want to close with a call to action. This person has sat there for the last 5 minutes. They actually read everything that you had to say. What do you want them to do now? What do you want them to do as a next step? Do you want them to email you? Do you have a website? Do you want them to book a discovery call? Do you want them to send you a direct message on LinkedIn? What do you want them to do? You need to decide on a simple step that makes it easy for them to connect with you on LinkedIn. So for your LinkedIn About section, Here is your LinkedIn prompt. The prompt is a bit long because I'm using the framework in terms of how I want the about section to be written. And then I'm asking the AI tool to be able to craft a LinkedIn about based on the framework that I just shared with you. Opening statement, catch their attention. Second paragraph, talk about yourself, the value you bring, your accomplishments. Closing paragraph, call to action. So that is the prompt that you want to use to be able to create your about section for your LinkedIn profile. Let's talk about the featured section. This is a section that people tend to overlook, and it doesn't show up on your LinkedIn profile by default. You do have to add it manually by going to add profile section, but I'm talking about it early because it is a section of your profile that can help you to bring more attention to who you are and what it is that you do, and it actually shows up quite early on your LinkedIn profile. This is really where you want to showcase your best work. And the great thing about the featured section is that if you're adding an article, a video, a link to your website, people can actually click on whatever you're showcasing and go to that item directly. So it's almost like a mini portfolio where you're showcasing the best of your work. It helps people, especially recruiters, quickly see what you're good at. And think about it, because LinkedIn is social media, it's a visual platform. Any eye-catching content here can help you stand out and stick in people's minds. 2 tips I want to share with you if you are leveraging the featured section on LinkedIn. If you're adding a link, you can use Canva to design the cover image that will go with the link, and the size is the same size as a YouTube thumbnail. So the size is 1280 by 720. And then the second tip I want to share with you is that if you want people to be able to click the link, let's say you share the link to your website, you want them to go from your featured section to your website directly, do not add a description in the box when you're adding the link to the featured section of your LinkedIn profile. If you add a description, it's going to take them to another page before they can actually go to your website. And the more steps you add, the more complicated you're making it for people, the more likely they're not going to do it. So we want to simplify it as much as possible. So just add the title of the link that you're adding, and then add the link, no description, and the person can click on that directly and go to the page that they're looking for. Okay, so we were talking about visuals. Now let's go into a little bit more detail about our visuals on our profile. Your profile photo, having a photo, it helps you increase credibility, and it does help you stand out from the crowd. LinkedIn has done studies on this, and they found that people who actually have a photo on their LinkedIn profile have 21 times more profile views and 9 times more connection requests than those who do not have it. So you want to ensure that you have a quality headshot where you look approachable, you look confident, you look professional, and there's tons of AI tools out there right now that can help you to be able to get a nice headshot. You don't have to get a photographer and do it professionally. If you have the funds to be able to do so, I encourage you to, because it's always best to work with a photographer. But if not, use the AI tools as I was saying. Canva, for example, has a Canva AI headshot generator where you can put a picture of yourself and then it's going to transform that picture into a professional headshot. So that's a tool that you can definitely leverage. And even just Google searching AI headshot generator, you're going to find a bunch of tools out there that do that these days. Now, another visual element for your LinkedIn profile is to add a profile banner. Most people skip this, but it is a great way to stand out and show a bit more about who you are. So LinkedIn lets you upload a banner. The size is 1584 by 396 pixels. I want to state that because sometimes I see some of these banners and they look very blurry, they're pixelated. So this is the size for your LinkedIn banner, and you can use it to highlight your industry, your personal branding statement. Think of it this way: a recruiter is skimming through various LinkedIn profiles, and then they see your profile. You actually have a banner, it has a branding statement, it's clear who you are and what it is that you do, that visual element will catch their attention. That will maybe cause them to say, let me actually read through this profile and find out who this person is. So it does make a difference. I also have a video where I show you how to create a LinkedIn banner using Canva. I'm linking that right above. And Canva has a bunch of templates. You don't need to use the premium or pro service of Canva to be able to get these templates. Even in the free version, you can get templates. If you're looking for inspiration before you go to Canva, you can prompt AI and say, give me LinkedIn banner ideas that reflect my work in this industry or in this field, and you add your field or your industry. By the way, if you're going through all this and you're like, oh, this is a lot more work than I thought it would be, I do offer personal branding services to help you get results from your LinkedIn profile for your career or your business. You can tap the link in the description below to book a discovery call with me, and we can help you elevate your personal brand on LinkedIn together. Now, going to your experience and your education on your LinkedIn profile, you definitely want to have that information there. But again, you want to think about what's your ultimate goal. So what's the current career goal that you have or professional goal that you have? And maybe not every single role that you've had in the past is relevant to that goal. So you need to use your judgment call here, but I'll give you an example of something that happened to one of my clients. So essentially, she was looking for a role in government affairs. And really early in her career, she had been an administrative assistant. So that role was still on her LinkedIn profile. And over time, 20 years later, she'd had multiple promotions. She had advanced in her career and she was now an executive. But that admin assistant role was still on her LinkedIn profile with a description and with keywords that she had added related to being an admin assistant. In addition to that, in her skills section, she had keywords related to event coordination, keywords related to supporting executives, and these were all the types of keywords that were in her LinkedIn profile because she hadn't updated her LinkedIn profile in many, many years, which happens to a lot of people. So what does that mean? When she was showing up in searches, she was typically showing up in searches for project coordination roles, for administrative assistant roles. And when she came to me, she was telling me, I don't understand why they're reaching out to me about these roles as an executive assistant when I am an executive who actually has an assistant. And she was telling me she doesn't understand how LinkedIn works. And as I was going through her LinkedIn profile, I realized, okay, this is the problem. So that disclaimer I gave you at the beginning about keywords and key phrases, optimizing your LinkedIn profile appropriately, it does make a difference. So especially in your experience and your education section, you want to take that seriously and make sure that you're including the roles that are relevant to the target that you have. And if you do include a past role because you don't want there to be gaps on your LinkedIn profile or for whatever reason, then you can just include the title and the company name. You don't need to include that full description that's going to add more skills and keywords that are not relevant to the search that you're doing today. So for the relevant roles that you're adding to your LinkedIn profile, you want to go beyond just listing responsibilities, but clearly articulating a few accomplishments that really show the impact that you made at the organization. Something to keep in mind for LinkedIn, you can use the first person, so it's not like your resume where the first person is implied. That also means that you don't want to copy paste your resume into your LinkedIn profile. They are two very separate tools. Your resume goes basically where you send it. You're sending it for a specific role and you're sending it to a specific company. And so the level of detail that you get into in terms of your resume may be a lot more than you do on your LinkedIn profile, because your LinkedIn profile, anyone could see your LinkedIn profile. Anyone can Google search you and end up on your LinkedIn profile. So it's quite important that you keep the information high level, but still adding enough to ensure that you have the right keywords, key phrases, and also keeping in mind, and you're talking about the accomplishments and the achievements that you had in that role. Another thing to keep in mind for your experience section is that LinkedIn allows you to upload or link files, videos, presentations, any media that you can add to that section. So let's say you're talking about a project that you did. Instead of just stating the project, maybe you want to add a visual element to it. You want to add a piece of your portfolio or a sample or a picture that really gives a visual element of the work that you did. That is a great visual touch that can help elevate your LinkedIn profile. Okay, so here's your AI prompt for your experience section. Update this role summary from my resume. Write it in the first person in simple words. Update these 2 achievements in the first person to include on my LinkedIn profile. So this means you'll need 2 key achievements from the role in question from your resume, and you'll also need that description of the role from your resume, and then you'll use this prompt and you'll be able to generate something using AI. Keep in mind that as much as I'm telling you to use these AI prompts, disclaimer, another disclaimer I want to make, it doesn't mean just copy paste whatever you get from ChatGPT into your LinkedIn profile. You do need to review it, you do need to make sure that it's written properly and that it really showcases the value that you bring. So don't just rely solely on AI and then kind of forget about it. You still need to improve the way that it's worded. Okay, your skills section. As an executive coach, I have reviewed thousands of LinkedIn profiles, and I'm honestly not sure why, but so many of my clients want to skip this part of their LinkedIn profile. And it's such a huge mistake. The skills section on your LinkedIn profile is such a powerful tool in terms of searchability, and you absolutely want to leverage that so that you're showing up in as many searches as possible. You can add up to 100 skills on your profile. If you can, use them all. As many as you can, you want to be able to leverage them. Another reason why the skills section is so important, there was a recent study done by the OECD, and they found that more and more companies are doing searches based on skills first. So in terms of their searches, recruiters are not focusing on skills and degrees like they used to. They are focusing on skills first. So recruiters, hiring managers are going in LinkedIn and not focused on where did you study, but what can you do? And this is a shift that's happening in the workplace, which is amazing. And a lot of professionals have been asking for this. So you want to make sure that the skills that you actually bring to the table are on your LinkedIn profile so that you show up in those searches that the recruiters and hiring managers are making. So here's our AI prompt. Provide me with a list of 100 skills that I should list on my LinkedIn profile to attract recruiters for the role of, state the title, and the industry. The next thing to keep in mind as you're updating your LinkedIn profile is that you want to personalize or customize your LinkedIn profile URL. So this is the actual link for your profile. And to be able to update that, go to your profile. So just clicking me, view profile, and then it'll take you to this page where it says public profile and URL right in the corner here at the top. So you're going to click on this pencil here. You'll see that the link is already optimized for me. So let's say you want to put your LinkedIn profile URL on your resume. It's much cleaner if it's your first name and your last name instead of that long link that LinkedIn provides by default. In addition to that, it does help with search engine optimization. So let's say you have a very, very common name. Everybody's also named Jane Smith. And then the challenge is that there are too many Jane Smiths already on LinkedIn. So what you can do is you can add an additional keyword that will help your profile stand out. So it could be Jane Smith MBA, or it could also be Jane Smith Marketing. So depending on your field or what your focus is, you can add an additional keyword that will help you stand out in terms of building your LinkedIn profile URL. Right here, when you click on open to, then you can put finding a new job. And it does work in terms of helping you get results in your job search. LinkedIn has done a study that found that people who use open to work with the green banner get 20% more results than those who don't. So that is something to keep in mind. As you're using the open to work feature, there are 2 options. There is the option where it's recruiter only. So let's say you're someone who doesn't want your boss or your company to know that you're currently job searching, then you would use a recruiter only option because it doesn't show as, it's not visible. There's no green banner that shows up around your profile picture to say that you're currently job searching. If you're okay with everyone knowing that you are currently job searching, then use the green banner. The hashtag open to work frame will show up around your profile picture. That's the one I'm going to use for the sake of this example. When you're using open to work, you want to make sure that you're including the job titles for which you want to be found. So let's say this person wants to be a project manager. So we are going to include those relevant job titles that they want to be found for. So you would include these 5 job titles. You can use this AI prompt. I'm searching for a role as A, include your industry and the role, list 5 alternative job titles for this industry role that I can use in my open to work feature on LinkedIn. So that is an AI prompt that can help you with getting ideas for other job titles that you want to use. And so you would then state the location where you want to work, when you want to start, employment type, and that's basically it. You click on save. You are going to have to turn on in-mail messaging, which I had turned off in the past, so I'm going to turn it back on. That way recruiters can reach out to me for opportunities. And then this is just basically updating your job preferences, and you can do that as a next step. What updates do you want LinkedIn to send you by email based on the job titles that you've selected for your open to work feature? Recommendations. So recommendations are personal testimonials from colleagues, managers, clients that you've had, and this is a way to boost your credibility on your LinkedIn profile. Recruiters and hiring managers highly value what others have to say about you, because it's great when you're saying you're amazing, but imagine if your previous boss is able to say that you're amazing. It works in the exact same way that references work. It's always powerful when somebody else can vouch for you. So remember that the best way to receive a recommendation is to ask for one. So many times people are telling me, I don't have a recommendation. I'm like, did you ask anyone to give you a recommendation? So you need to ask for recommendations, and reciprocity is always a great way to be able to get a recommendation. Maybe you worked with someone who can vouch for you. Can you vouch for them too? Can you also write them a recommendation? A tip I will give you is that when you're asking someone for a recommendation, you want to make sure that you're providing them with a bit of guidance in terms of what you need for the recommendation, whether it's some questions that will help them to actually get a sense of what you're trying to achieve. Because a lot of times people will just be like, oh yeah, Lisa's amazing. But that's not enough for someone to actually know, okay, what value do you bring to the table? So just be a bit more specific when you're asking for the recommendation. You almost made it to the end of the video, and if you're thinking this is an amazing video, but I'd rather have a professional handle this for me, I am your person. You can check out the link in my description to book a consultation with me, and let's discuss how we can elevate your presence on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a networking platform, so you want to grow your network and you want to connect with people. While optimizing your profile is important, you need to network on LinkedIn to actually see any results. So actively connect with professionals in your target industry, hiring managers at the companies that you are looking to work with or that you admire. You want to connect with peers, people who can bring value to you as you are on LinkedIn. So you can send personalized connection requests to these people, and a strong growing network just helps you increase your visibility, and it provides you access to job opportunities that may not be advertised, because sometimes recruiters, hiring managers don't post the job poster on LinkedIn where you find all the jobs, but maybe they shared it in a post. There's a hashtag that people will use sometimes in posts when they're talking about a opportunity, hashtag hiring. So for example, maybe they didn't create a job poster, a formal one, but they created a post and they added hashtag hiring. If you're not in that person's network, first degree, second degree, third, there's no connection to you, you won't be able to get that information, right? So the more you are able to connect with people, the more you're accessing not only your immediate network, but the network of the people that you're connected to as well. You want to be consistent with refreshing your LinkedIn profile. It is not a static document. It's not something that you create and you forget about. I shared with you the story of my client who was getting job opportunities coming her way, but the wrong ones because she hadn't updated her LinkedIn profile. So you want to make it a habit to regularly refresh and update your LinkedIn profile, review your experience, your achievements, your skills, make sure that your summary is up to date. If your picture is from 10 years ago, update it. Schedule specific times, let's say quarterly or every 6 months, that you'll take the time to update your LinkedIn profile, because this is ultimately your personal brand. People from all over the world can come to your profile to be able to see who you are, what it is that you do. You want to make sure that you're making the right and the best first impression. So I was referring to a video early on where I was talking about your LinkedIn headline. I've put it right here, and you can watch that one next to get more information on how to create a LinkedIn headline that truly stands out.